Hi everyone, my name's Tim, and today I'm going to be talking to you about The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis. This is the sixth book written in the Chronicles of Narnia series, the penultimate book written, but it's set first. It's a prequel, so some people read it first. I read it sixth because I'm reading them in publication order. This has no Pevensey children at all. It's set way before. It's Diggory, who is the man that owns the house that the Pevensey children go to. So he's an old man by the time of the first book, Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. It's him as a child and his neighbour Polly. They find, through means of the plot, they find these rings, yellow rings and green rings. And this is how you are teleported across different worlds. They teleport to this connecting world full of its woods and full of pools of water, and you go into the pool and that's how you travel to a different world. Really interesting idea. They then travel to a world where you meet a big half giant lady who has magical powers. She is a witch. She is the White Witch from the first book, from Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So and they do things, they escape that world, and they end up back in our world with this witch, with this 7-foot tall witch. She doesn't have magic, but she's still very strong. Their Uncle Andrew, is the magician in The Magician's Nephew. He is the main antagonist. He's super creepy and generally quite a good villain. I wish he got a better comeuppance at the end of the story, but still a good villain because you really, really don't like him. He does lots of deplorable things. And they're all fighting. The witch is like beating people up. She rips part of a lamppost off, and then they end up all teleported to this blank world. Complete nothingness. And they see the creation of Narnia. You see Aslan, he sings a song, and everything just comes into being. Does this sound like Genesis from the Bible? Yes, it does. What a coincidence. Aslan sings the sky and the land and the flowers and the animals, and then he takes some animals and says, you're going to be smart animals, and talk to them, and you can talk and you can think and be sentient. Then the witch throws her bit of lamppost at him, and he takes no notice, it just bounces off him, and then that grows into a lamppost. That answers the question of why there is a lamppost in Narnia. Is that a question I really needed answering? Not really. But then, one thing is that Diggory, his mother's very sick, and so Aslan says, oh, go get me an apple, and I need you to go get me an apple to help fight off the witch, because you've brought this witch into the world. And he goes and gets the apple, and the witch is there, and she's eating one. And she's like, oh, you could use this to help your mum. It's almost as if the apple is a forbidden fruit in this beautiful garden. Does that sound familiar? Oh, what a coincidence. It sounds like the Garden of Eden. Anyway, he rejects the temptation, and he takes back the apple. And as his reward, they plant the tree, it grows. They plant the apple, it grows. And the reward is that he gets another apple to go save his mum. And in the end, he uses the apple, he plants the apple core in his garden, grows into a great, big, beautiful tree. Eventually, that tree gets blown over, and he builds it into a wardrobe. So we get the lion, we get the backstory of the witch, we get the backstory of the wardrobe. Ultimately, that's about all this is. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was fine. I quite enjoyed, one of my favourite sections was all these newly sentient animals. They don't know what anything is, and they see Uncle Andrew, and they think he's a plant, so they try and plant him in the ground, and they don't know which end is which. So they guess that his 2 feet are like his roots, so they plant him in, and he's fainted, I think, or something at this point, and they just like throw fruit and spray loads of water at him, try and plant him try and make him grow like a plant. And he wakes up and he's just asking for brandy, so they think that's all he can say, so they call him Brandy. Pretty entertaining. That was good, and but there were you spend hardly any time in Narnia. You don't really get you see how it's made, but that's something that I didn't really care about. That's one thing with prequels generally, is they answer lots of questions that me as a reader generally don't care about too much. I didn't care about why it was a magical wardrobe. It's just a magical wardrobe because it is. That's one thing about Narnia as a world, is things are just magical because they are. Because it's Narnia. That's one thing I like about very soft, woolly magic systems, is that magic is unknowable and you can't break it down. And then this kind of breaks it down a bit. I liked this world between worlds, and I like the idea of traveling with rings. They all get destroyed, and just Aslan will just call you when you need to come to Narnia. So that's something that's interesting, and then is immediately taken away and is never seen throughout the rest of the series. Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was okay. I thought the start was very slow. I wouldn't recommend people to read this one first. For me, I think it's one of the weaker ones. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe so far has been the best of them, so read that one first. That's what I would think. Anyway, if you've read them, let me know below. Also, I was listening to the audiobook narrated by Kenneth Branagh, one of my favourite actors, and the last battle, is narrated by Sir Patrick Stewart. Make it so. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.